Live from Ball State University, news for the campus community and all of Delaware County. This is NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Randa Gore.
And I'm Cameron Riddle. Thanks for joining us. The Indianapolis Colts had a press conference this morning to talk about the head coach Chuck Pagano's illness.
Rob Conant of NewsLink Indiana Sports is in the studio with more. Rob?
Thanks, Randa and Cameron. The Colts announced today that Chuck Pagano has been diagnosed with leukemia. Now, the type of leukemia Pagano has is where the bone marrow is producing abnormal white blood cells that interfere with healthy blood cells. Pagano has been in the hospital since last Wednesday and is undergoing treatment despite experiencing extreme fatigue and bruising that started back way in training camp. Now, Dr. Kripe of the IU Cancer Center that Pagano is handling the chemotherapy treatments well so far, and the goal of the treatment is to cure Pagano, which could take up to 5 years. I'll have more about how this will affect the team coming up later in sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rob. The Ball State campus crime statistics were released today, and liquor law crimes are significantly higher than any other category. 1,173 people were given referrals in 2011 for crimes related to liquor laws. This number is an increase compared to 2010, and this doesn't include those who were actually arrested for violating these liquor laws. This number is smaller but still significant. There were a total of 442 arrests compared to 286 in 2010 arrested on Ball State's campus. And with this recent increase in excise patrol, it could mean that more people are getting caught. We may see even a bigger increase next year.
Munson Community Schools, local legislators, the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, and AT&T partnered to show students at Southside High School the dangers of texting while driving through the use of a driving simulator. Reporter Moises Sanchez has the story.
Hit the brakes.
Hey, look at that deer.
Grip the wheel. Send a text.
Texting while driving is obviously so dangerous was shown on that simulation. Things can happen like that. The deer that can run out in front of you, a ball that runs out.
The accelerator was not different. Everything was, after we got acclimated, it was very challenging to do, trying to do more than one thing at one time.
If you are 17 and younger and you have a driver's license, it is illegal for you to use a handheld device while you are operating a motor vehicle. That means you can't talk on the phone, and that means you cannot text while driving.
AT&T is spending tens of millions of dollars in TV ads and social media to educate about the dangers of texting while driving. The AT&T Drive Mode app for smartphones is a major response, as it allows the phone to automatically text back or go to voicemail while you're in motion.
Your lives, the lives of the people that are with you in the automobile, the other people on the highway, all too important. So yes, it can definitely wait, and besides that, now with this law, it's illegal to do it.
Students at Southside High School were given the opportunity to see the risks of distracted driving.
The seatbelt is so uncomfortable.
You are ordered to serve 90 days in the county jail. You've served 1 night in the county jail.
For NewsLink Indiana, I'm Moises Sanchez.
You must pay restitution to the victim and a mandatory fine of $1,000.
And AT&T will continue their No Text is Worth Dying For campaign next in South Bend.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Pruis Hall, Indiana's 6th District candidates will debate. Republican Luke Mesner, Democrat Brad Bookout, and Libertarian Rex Bell will give their views on issues that impact Eastern Indiana. They're running for the seats that are being vacated by Representative Mike Pence. We'll have team coverage on the debate tomorrow right here at 9 p.m.
And speaking of debates, Randa, with just 35 days to Election Day, both President Obama and Governor Romney are busy prepping for the first of 3 presidential debates, with the first on Wednesday night. And with the election barely a month away, that leaves little time to sway voters. But as CNN's Athena Jones reports, it only takes one debate misstep to lose support.
Both the Obama and Romney campaigns are doing their best to lower expectations ahead of Wednesday's debate.
We've expected all along that Governor Romney will have a good night. He's prepared more than any candidate in history.
President Obama is he's a very gifted speaker. The man's been on the national stage for many years. He's an experienced debater. He's done these kinds of debates before. This is Mitt's first time on this kind of a stage.
Ryan's words echoed a memo from Romney advisor Beth Myers, who said the president was widely regarded as one of the most talented political communicators in modern history. Myers even pointed to a CNN ORC poll showing a 25-point advantage for Obama on who voters think will win the debates. The Obama camp likes to remind voters the president hasn't had as much time to prepare for the debates because he's busy being commander-in-chief. When it comes to just how much debates matter, it depends.
Most often debates don't make that big a difference. Very few candidates ever win an election with a debate, but quite a few have lost an election with a debate. So it can matter.
These matchups can produce some memorable lines, like in 1980 between then-Governor Ronald Reagan and President Jimmy Carter.
There you go again.
And Lloyd Benson's swipe at fellow Senator Dan Quayle in 1988.
I served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
And then there are the moments that seemed to say more, like President George H.W. Bush looking at his watch in a 1992 debate with Bill Clinton.
I can't.
Texas Governor Rick Perry's oops remark.
Oops. Rick, I'll tell you what.
Romney's high-dollar wager.
$10,000 bet?
And Obama's comment to then-rival Hillary Clinton in 2008.
You're likable enough,
Thank
Hillary,
you so
no
much.
doubt.
One thing analysts agree on, the debates may be Romney's big chance.
He's got two very tough competing goals, be likable and lay out a contrast. It's hard to be likable when you're the attack dog.
We've gotten to know Barack Obama pretty well. We've seen him as president 4 years. There's not a lot of room left on his canvas to paint. Mitt Romney, he still's got a little white space on his canvas. He can still show us who he is and where he'd lead us.
The president spends the first part of the week in the battleground state of Nevada, where he'll be doing debate prep with Massachusetts Senator John Kerry, who's playing Mitt Romney. Governor Romney will be in Colorado, another swing state, where he'll be practicing with Ohio Senator Rob Portman, who is playing President Obama. Athena Jones, CNN, Washington.
The University of Denver is hosting Wednesday night's debate. It begins at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Meteorologists are remaining cautious about the aftermath of this summer's drought in Indiana. That's even though much of the state's had plenty of rain in recent weeks. The National Weather Service says much of southern Indiana remains in a precipitation deficit of 9 inches or more for the year. The Weather Service says nearly 8 inches of rain fell in Indianapolis in September. That's making it the 5th wettest September on record. And Cameron, I already noticed a little bit of drizzle out there walking into the studio this evening.
Yeah, it was a little wet when we were coming in. Weathercaster Sam Abbott is over in the Weather Center with a preview of this week's forecast. Sam.
Well, rain is moving into the area, but we're going to talk about that later tonight. Right now, it feels like 57 with winds coming from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Dew point is 57. We take a look at the national radar, and we can see rain moving into Indiana through the overnight hours. What we're going to talk about later is when will this rain end, possible cool down this weekend, and your forecast. Back to you.
Thanks, Sam. Only a few months after the deadly Aurora shooting, one survivor has a challenge for the presidential candidates.
And according to one senator, milk prices could double by the new year if Congress doesn't move to pass a new farm bill. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A survivor of the deadly movie theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado is asking for more from the presidential candidates.
22-year-old Stephen Barton is the new face of an ad campaign asking for the candidates' plans to curb gun violence.
In the ad, Barton sits in an empty movie theater and says 48,000 people will be killed by gun violence in the next presidential term.
Basically, you know, we're just disappointed that Governor Romney and President Obama haven't addressed gun violence in a concrete, specific way. And so basically we're demanding a plan from both of them in advance of the presidential election or presidential debate in Denver, and asking that they put forth something specific aside from just platitudes and moments of silence, and actually get down to the business of preventing gun violence.
The gun violence ad is set to start airing nationally Wednesday. That's the same day the two candidates face off in Denver for the first presidential debate.
The U.S. Supreme Court's back in session today. After taking a break, the court begins a possibly historic term. The court ended last term ruling in favor of President Obama's health care law. This time around, more hot topic decisions are up for debate. Voting rights are expected to be at the center, with the elections only about a month away. Other possible issues include gay marriage, abortion, and the way that colleges accept prospective students.
It's a staple for many households, and prices could spike, even double around the new year. And that's something New York Senator Chuck Schumer says could hurt many families. Senator Schumer says dairy prices could actually double. This is all happening because Congress went on its 5-week election break without passing a farm bill. Now we turn our attention back to local news. We have an exclusive look at tomorrow's Daily News headlines.
And for that, we're joined by Kirsten Davenport in the studio. Kirsten, what can we look forward to tomorrow?
Now time for a look at tomorrow's headlines from our partners at Ball State Daily News. Ball State's own Professor Jagdish Bangladesh was one out of the 8 recipients of Indiana's Community Service Award. Also, the Royalty Fashion Show took place tonight. Find out who looked best and more when the details come out in tomorrow's newspaper. And finally, the political debate between Robert Gibbs and Liz Cheney was held in Emmons Auditorium tonight. All that and more coming up in tomorrow's edition of Ball State Daily News on newsstands across campus or online 24 hours a day at bsudailynews.com.
Thanks, Kirsten. Well, we may not be out of this drought yet, but we're certainly getting some help this week.
That's right, and it's long overdue. Coming up, NewsLink forecaster Sam Abbott has a look at the chance for rain every day this week.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Connett with NewsLink Indiana Sports. Like we said at the top of the broadcast, Colts Nation has its thoughts and prayers out for head coach Chuck Pagano as news broke out this morning that he's undergoing treatment for leukemia. So where does the team go from here? Well, team owner Jim Irsay announced that offensive coordinator Bruce Arians will be Pagano's replacement for the next 6 to 8 weeks. According to Irsay, it was Pagano's request that Arians fill in for him during his absence. Irsay also stated in the press conference today that it would be unlikely for Pagano to assume full-time coaching duties the rest of this season, but, quote, might be able to come back in the press box or something, unquote. Pagano waited until this past Wednesday during the Colts bye week to be admitted into the hospital despite experiencing extreme fatigue and bruising that started back in training camp. Dr. Larry Kripe, who is treating the coach at IU's Simon Cancer Center, said that Pagano is handling the chemotherapy treatments really well, and the goal of the treatment is to cure Pagano, which could take up to 5 years. The Colts will get back to play next Sunday when they host the Green Bay Packers at Lucas Oil Stadium at 1 p.m. Switching over to collegiate athletics, the Ball State football team, which was coming off a dramatic upset victory over USF last week, had another dramatic game against conference foe Kent State this past weekend in Ohio. It was a huge day for quarterback Keith Winning and wide receiver Willie Snead. Winning went 32 of 43 on the day with a career-high 445 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. Willie Snead had 14 completions from Winning for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, while the offense had a great afternoon, the Cards' defense struggled once again, allowing the Golden Flashes to march down the field in the final minutes, which led to a 25-year-old field goal with 5 seconds remaining, putting Kent State on top by 2. Cards had one last chance as Winning launched a Hail Mary pass, which was batted down. Ball State falls to Kent 45-43. Cards are now 3-2 on the season and 1-1 in the MAC. Next game for Ball State is this coming Saturday at Schumann Stadium. As the Cardinals host Northern Illinois, it's Think Pink, so wear your pink out there. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. Other Ball State teams were in action over the weekend as well. The field hockey team had a come-from-behind 3-2 victory over IU. Allie White scored the winning goal for the Cards just 18 seconds left in the game. Field hockey team is now 3-8 on the season. Now, the women's volleyball team was in action both Friday and Saturday. On Friday night, the Cards took a set 1 at Northern Illinois before dropping the next 3 sets to fall to the Huskies. And then on Saturday night, the Cards lost at Western Michigan in 4 sets. With the 2 losses over the weekend, Ball State has lost their last 5 road games, now 9-8 on the season, 2-2 in the MAC Conference. And the women's soccer team played to a 1-1 draw at Ohio University as Coach Roberts was ejected from the game after receiving 2 yellow cards. Nicole Pemberton scored the only goal for BSU. The soccer team now has a record of 5-4-3 in 2012. They're 2-1-1 in the MAC Conference. And now in local high school sports over the weekend, a big congratulations to the Wapahani Lady Raiders volleyball team who won the 2012 Delaware County Championship on Saturday night. The Raiders, #1 in Class 2A, defeated the #1 team in Class 3A, the Yorktown Tigers, in 4 sets. It's the first time since 2008 that Wapahani has won the county championship. The Yorktown Tigers, on the other hand, 25-2 on the season. Those 2 losses are to Wapahani. The IHSA volleyball section will start up in 3 weeks with the state title games once again at Ball State's Worthen Arena. And finally, we'd like to congratulate the Yorktown girls golf team on winning the state title over the weekend. The Tigers, led by senior Kennedy Windland, finished with a 625. That's 14 strokes ahead of Carmel for the team title. Now, leading the way was the Yorktown Tigers senior Windland. She shot a 152, which tied for 13th in the individuals. Tiger sophomore Rachel Johnson was just 1 stroke behind her teammate. Sports anchor Brad Huber will be talking with the coach of the Yorktown girls golf team tomorrow on NewsLink. Be sure to tune into that. Back to you, Cameron and Randa.
All right, thanks. A lot going on in sports, and we wish the best for Chuck Pagano and his family.
60 bands on 10 stages had Muncie rocking this weekend. Find out which had what musicians taking to the streets.
Plus, Sam Abbott will return with another check of that final wet week ahead. Don't go away.
Welcome back. I'm Dea Hernandez, and this is NewsLink Entertainment. Hundreds of people made their way to downtown Muncie Saturday for the 5th annual Muncie Music Fest. NewsLink Indiana Cody's Butler explains how this event came about.
60 bands performed on 10 stages throughout downtown. Most of those bands are from Muncie. Some bands performed on stages in bars such as Docks and the Hrot. Others were on downtown streets. Muncie music lovers got to enjoy concerts from all genres. Graham Watson is one of the organizers. He says Muncie Music Fest was created to fill a void downtown.
Muncie Music Fest is us trying to have a big concert for everybody at the end of summer, but instead of having to raise a bunch of money for some big headliner that everybody likes but no one has a personal connection to, we try to book as many local bands.
Reporting in downtown Muncie, Steve Butler, NewsLink, Indiana.
Ball State's homecoming events took off tonight with the Royalty Fashion Show. The Homecoming Committee announced the top 10 candidates for this year's Homecoming Royalty. Candidates strutted their stuff in celebrity-themed costumes from Nicki Minaj to Tiger Woods. BSU's theme for this year's homecoming is Play Your Cards Right. The 2012 Homecoming King, Queen, and their courts will be crowned at Air Jam on Thursday, October 11th at 9:00 p.m. in Emmons Auditorium. The homecoming events officially kick off with the Homecoming Village. This event has a zip line, poker tournament, and live student bands. Come out and play your cards right. That's all for NewsLink Entertainment. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks. A lot going on over there. Hopefully the weather is going to hold out for all the homecoming events next week.
Yeah, the rain is going to linger till about Wednesday.
All right, we will see you back here tomorrow. NewsLink comes back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Good night.